What's going on? Peace, peace. This is Don, aka Abdullah Saway, and this is
Jay Taylor.
And you are watching No PTO Days.
So yeah, we here, right?
Yeah.
This is what we started out with Instagram lives, which we were kind of forced into with the pandemic.
Right.
And how did we stumble? We was forced at what our audience was like. We needed to talk to the people.
Right.
And how did we get here? Like, as far as what made us get into do this podcast thing?
I mean, I remember when we were doing the lives, afterward we would, sit and we'd be like, yo, like, this actually would be pretty fire. Like, first of all, the podcast wave right now is crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because it gives people a platform to actually say something. And for it to be done at a high level, you know what I'm saying? To where you can actually reach a lot of people. Versus something like a live where people might just look at it and be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna tap in. And if you're not selling a product and they're not interested in the product, they're gonna move on, right? A lot of times with lives, or if you just like somebody that people want to look at, you know what I'm saying, for fun or for whatever, or leisurely. I feel like doing a podcast is the same way. However, you can take it and it can actually be something that people can run back and look at and actually pick up something. It's a little more substance to it. So with everything that we're doing, all the stuff we got going on, it just made sense for us to do a podcast, I think, like, right?
Right. I think I'm going to take credit for the name. Don wasn't really feeling the name at first. So, again, the name of our podcast is No PTO Days, and anybody could relate to that, right? Like,
absolutely. I don't know about anybody, but
most people can.
Yeah.
So, the premise of it is No PTO Days. It's like, if you are trying to juggle having your side hustle or side business, and you're at work and you're trying to figure out time to manage that time to get away. And some creatives, and I fell in this a couple years ago where I ran out of PTO days, and I'm still trying to juggle on trading your time with money, and that's the main thing about it. Yeah. Even if you remove yourself from having a job,
which is crazy, because what you were doing over at the company you were at was at a high level, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were dealing with millions, right? So you were bringing in M's for a company, but then for your own business, you had to scrape and scramble for moments where you could make $100. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out ways to be creative, to earn income for your own business, to turn revenue. So finding time to do that. So I remember having conversations with you. Or actually, I remember I wouldn't even have conversations with you because I'd be asleep. But you would hit me up and it would be like 2 a.m. and you'd be working on the website, or you'd be working on something, a spreadsheet or whatever you were working on, crunching numbers or whatever. And I would be like, damn, like Jay, like, you know what I mean? You're like, I gotta go. And I'm like, damn, Jay, you up that late? Working and like I said, I mean, I know I do that with like my art. I do that with different things like that. Even with some of my other business ventures that I have now, other things like that. If we got to crunch on something and I got to hurry up and get a design done for the brand or something like that, then yeah.
And let's take a couple steps back, because our audience, some of them may know, but For the audience that might be new to us, we own a lifestyle brand. It's ELITISM Group LLC.
Right.
This merch that you see that we have on, this is our brand, and just take it. We could let's go back just 6 years. And we're not going to get too much personalized on our own, but 6 years ago, you lived in Houston, I lived in Philly, and this is before the norm of people Zoom and everything and having meetings out outside of your local area. I feel like that helped us prepare for now, right?
Yeah. How about that? Like, I remember because even when I had my trucking business, right? Like, I was in the trucking business. A lot of people don't know I was in the trucking business, for a decade almost. You know what I'm saying? And I would be traveling and things like that, and we would be trying to talk about business. We were trying to be talking we would try to talk about goals and things like that. You know what I mean? And so then when we were back home, when I would be back home, and I wasn't over the road anymore, us having meetings over the phone and things like that, yeah, we definitely prepare for like how things are now, where you have to communicate with people, from a distance, remotely, and things like that.
Right.
But in that, going back to what we were originally talking about, though, like defining a space and a time for you to run your business, to run your hustle. You know what I'm saying? As people like to call them. Finding that space, finding that time, finding that opportunity, is the biggest struggle when you're giving all your time to a 9 to 5, right? Like me, I still work a 9 to 5. Like you don't work a 9 to 5 currently, right? I mean, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? like, bro, I mean, but respect though, like you decided you were going to go, head first into, entrepreneurship. And that was the first step, was kind of jumping out the window. You know what I mean?
I feel like as far as me being able to for really taking that step was as you know, when I went a trip to Hawaii a few years back, and when I sat back and it was a guy from the company, he was like, "Hey man, I've been working here for 20 years, and I finally basically for the audience, the company that I was with, I was in medical sales." And in your segment, you can win an award, and they do an all expense paid trip somewhere and give you, for your credentials of being the top sales rep. So when the guy told me, he was like, "I've been with this company for 20 years. This is my first time, finally making a trip." That kind of gave me that put a battery in my backpack, as far as like, as soon as I get back home, I'm going full 1,000% for elitism group.
Facts.
That kind of like geared me up, and have the confidence to go forward. Now, to bring it back to the topic where we were talking about, we can edit that out. We were talking about as far as trading time for money. Now, shout out to Ash Cash. I know we watched some of the same podcasts, and I was watching. I forget the name of it, but Ash Cash was the host, and he talked about, there's 4 different types of ways you spend.
Sorry, trying to get this live. Turn that live on. Bloopers. Sorry about that.
We were talking about 4 different ways that people spend money. So he said you have your consumers, producers, investors, and philanthropists.
Yeah. Facts.
And so a lot of our culture, we we make money, we turn back into the consumer. We didn't really come up where, if you make money, you can, put your money into something to produce something, or put something into invest it, get those other 3 buckets,
right,
for you to start producing money. We probably just starting to see that in the past 4 to 5 years, which we're trying to implement now. But it's just interesting as far as like, having the awareness, you know what I mean? So some of the information that I have now, I wish I had at 17, 18, 19, you know what I mean? Where we came up in Philly, we didn't really have those examples or access to that information. I know we talk a lot about that.
Yeah. I mean, like, because for me, even as a kid, right, I always was a hustler, right? I always had some type of business going. Me and my brother and I, and a couple of other cats from the neighborhood, like we would get lawnmowers together. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody in Philly, like, and I guess anybody, from the hood, like, if you live somewhere where you were close enough, you were in the hood, but you were close enough to a neighborhood that had yards, lawns, or whatever, then all right, let's go get some lawnmowers, let's get some rakes. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some snow shovels. We're going to make some money today. You know what I'm saying? It's a good weekend to make 200 real quick. You know what I'm saying? And that was the idea, the notion when we were 13, 14, you know what I'm saying, before we had work papers. Right. So it was always a thing for me to, all right, let's band together with those who want to get it like how we get it. You know what I mean? So we did have that drive, but like you said, it's about the information, because now it's like, okay, we were still really trading time for money at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like we were still working, and we didn't establish it. Like in that type of thing, it's a labor thing. You know what I'm saying? I think now where I look at my oldest son, he along with some of his friends were talking about developing apps when he was 16. You know what I'm saying? Him and his friends were coming together and saying like, yo, you know how we can make some money? We can create something and it's going to keep making money and we don't got to keep working. Let's make some apps. You know what I mean? At 16. We didn't have that when we were young. You know what I mean? Like, we just had like Windows,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? American Online, like AOL, dial-up, and things like that. We didn't have any of that. So for me to hear him saying it, and then I got another son, you know, my other son, and he's talking about like, you know, wanting to engineer different things or whatever that are going to be residual income for him. You know what I'm saying? Like creating systems and things to where he doesn't have to punch anybody's clock, and he doesn't have to go into anybody's office for 8 hours a day in order to amass his income. You know what I'm saying? Rather, he can spend some time on what he's doing and then spending the rest of the time figuring out ways to grow that money by putting it somewhere else that's going to make the money work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Or like we said, like another unique thing I think that people would be surprised is like neither one of us have a degree. Like we didn't go to.
Right.
You did go to,
I went to college,
but
I didn't get my degree. That's facts.
But I feel like even now a strategy is in my way. Like I was blessed in regards to my path, but we talk about it all the time. You can go work, you know, for a corporate job or whatever for those 4 years, and just pick up on some of those transferable skills.
That's a fact. Steal from your job, as they say.
And not even still, it's like it's leverage, right? Like leverage all the information. The same way if you want to go to a university, you know, you want to get on-site training, you want to establish relationships that you could later on leverage and stuff like that.
That's a fact. You know, because I think that's one thing that the reason I say steal from your job, I forget where I got that from, but it was one of these you know, one of these speakers, and he said something to that effect. He said, you know, make sure you steal from your job. It might have been Les Brown, I'm not sure, but he said you always want to kind of like steal from your job, and it was a play on words, obviously, but yeah, you're taking these skills, these transferable skills, these relationships, just like in college. Like they say, the reason you go to college is, you need that piece of paper and you need some of those skills and those talents that you learn from there, especially if you want to be in something like engineering or something like in the medical field. You need specific skills and you need paperwork and documents. I don't want somebody performing surgery on me that doesn't have a degree, friend. Like, hell no. But but if you're gonna, really be honest about it, the relationships I made in a little, short while that I was in college, though I still value those relationships to this day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even like my closest companion, my closest friend, was the brother who introduced us, but that wasn't in college, that was in high school, but we ended up being college roommates.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that only solidified our relationship. And so many good things were able to come from that. A lot of different opportunities.
It's like building, it's your network. It's either way, like it's building your network, whether you want a student athlete and you sports, like that's who you share your memories with. Especially, I feel like, especially high school, that's when you broke. You know what I mean? That's when you really value a lot of relationships before you even have anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The grind is really there. Like some of the biggest entrepreneurs that we know, your Bill Gates, your most of them, they had most of their fun in their early 20s, right? And the grind mode and all of that.
So like definitely. And so when you go to college, it's the same thing as when you go to your job. You're building relationships, you're learning skills, you're learning social skills, and you're building relationships. And then you're learning certain technical skills that you can apply, right? Like you have a history in sales, right? Like all of your, if I'm not mistaken, all of your work experience pretty much is in sales, right? Since you were a kid.
Yeah.
So mine has been more so a lot of labor work, a lot of like I've done a lot of different stuff, and most of it was in labor. So most of my experience was just in building relationships and learning hard work. Those are the two things I got from my experiences. You know what I'm saying? So I take a lot of things like, all right, cool. I can shrug a lot of stuff off because I've done a lot more for a lot less. That's the way I take it, right? So what you pick up from your job, has its rewards and it has its benefits, but you're still losing a lot sometimes, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you know what I mean? If you don't have a goal in mind, and if you have some, or if you have a goal in mind that you want, but you're focusing and centralizing all your time into this 9 to 5, a lot of times you're losing out on, you know, like I watch people, you know, like, and I've done this myself, right? Like I have one of the businesses I have is, it's like skincare and all that type of stuff or whatever, you know, health and beauty, you know, clothing and things like that, you know, for a particular niche audience. But I still find myself having to spend hours, like how we talked about, spend hours after clocking out. I'm going home and I'm spending the same amount of time.
That's a whole nother conversation. Like, not a whole nother conversation, but you can still be in that same mindset even after you leave your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So if you already have, that's training yourself to, like, if you leave your job and you still like, hey, I'm running myself down, like as far as taking on all these positions, like if you don't, we talked about it as far as like learning how to fire yourself, delegate. I think that even with our business, with ELITISM Group, one of the biggest growth factors that we had is that we expanded our team. Salute to all the, salute to all the brand reps too. Alex, Marissa, who else? I don't want to leave anybody else out, but I know we got a bunch of them. John,
definitely.
Like when we expanded as far as like our ideas and some of the drops that we did, like being able to have other people represent us, that's something that we didn't think about 4 years ago, where it was like, it's just me and you and we're releasing it. You know what I mean? It probably would have grew a lot slower, but now that you have somebody conveying an idea to other people that represent, it's going to spread a lot faster. So I think that, I mean, we look at in our culture, a lot of mom and pop type stores that might be old fashioned, like, you know, not.
Yeah, we got to work here. Yeah, we're going to be like, they're going to be on the scene. And I think I look at not being like, when people are afraid to, like, I know people personally, like, he gonna see this and probably be mad at me, but I'll say my brother, right? My brother. Shout out to Dawood. Dawood has a thing where he'll hire people and fire people, right? Instead of firing himself, like, and sticking to it, because I think that he likes things done a certain kind of way, and finding people who can do it the way that he wants it done, you know what I mean, is difficult. You know what I mean? And I guess that's with any business, right? It's like, I got a system set up. I want people that's going to value the business the way I do it. Or if
so we kind of talked about that, right? Like if and anybody that didn't watch, like The Founder, that's a similar situation of the two McDonald brothers. If they want, if they had their way, I guess that's a segue into McDonald's. Have it your way. If they had it their way, they would have just stuck to the one and the two locations. They didn't want to expand and have a franchise.
Right.
So the guy Ray Kroc, and if anybody didn't go watch that movie, I highly suggest it.
You gotta watch The Founder, man.
Especially if you want any type of business, thinking about scaling up.
Yeah. The Founder to me has jumped to the same space. I mean, cinematically, The Founder has taken the same like level as Rich Dad Poor Dad took as far as books, or Think and Grow Rich, right? I think The Founder is taking a place of like, you gotta watch it. Yeah.
It took you like 3 years to watch it.
You got me to watch it, and I was like, "Yo, this is iconic, man." Because you know my like.
If anybody don't know, Don like to do things on his time.
That's a fact.
So
I do it on creative's time. You know what I'm saying? As Kyle said, do it on creative's time.
I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
You guys can restate them in the mic so everyone can hear.
All
right. So first, I want you guys to give me your top 3 or 5 transferable skills that you learned.
I'll start with that one. Top 3 for sure is business building. You know,
restate the question though.
Yeah, restate the question.
Top 3 or 5 skills that you learned from your corporate job that you bring into your own business.
So the top 3 transferable skills that I learned after like corporate sales is, for one, not because when I started in sales, we was like I didn't know anything about medical sales. Like as you said, I started out in the sneaker store. Shout out to the whole Kicks USA squad back in the day and Ubik back in the day.
You can use a sponsor.
They sold
Not
the company.
them.
It's
I'm
called,
talking
it's
about
called Snipes now.
Snipes, yeah. I'm talking about Snipes. Holla at us.
But when I got the medical sales, it was different. Like, you know, talking to in the retail on just customer level, see people that we see on an everyday basis, a little bit different when you get into talking to CEOs and things like that. Yeah. So we was thrown into a room, had to make 100 calls, like 100 calls every day. Beast and mode. So like being able to, but those skills help transferable to today. Like, as you know, like some of our partners, like some of the nonprofits that we work with, some of the corporate people.
So I don't like the Lion's Den type of situation. Like, is that what it was? It was like a Lion's Den. Like, sit in this room and make this call. It's like Pursuit of Happiness. It's like Pursuit of Happiness when they give them the list. It was like, I knew that I couldn't drink water because I had to go to the bathroom, and then I would miss.
Nah, not quite to that extreme. Right. You know what I mean? But it was dope as far as like not having the fear of reaching out. Okay. And you know, I'm not gonna say solicit, but building with, I guess, establishing relationships. Yeah. Another one would be as far as like just keeping track of your sales, like as far as your accounts and things like that. It's the same way how we deal with our vendors and stuff like that, right? Like we got to track a certain goal. We got to get. So I feel like if there was a job and that's transferable to entrepreneurship, sales is definitely at the top of the list for me. Because you got to hold yourself accountable. You don't hit your goal. Like I don't have a mindset like some people are like, oh, what if you don't hit your goal? Like I don't even have that mindset. Like I don't have a mindset as far as like if I don't, like I'm going to figure out a way to get to this number. Right. And that's the same way as
I don't want to cut you off, but like as shout out to another Philly King doing his thing, Nehemiah Davis. Yeah, like he says, shout out to Nehemiah. He says, what he say? It works. It has to work or it has to work. You know what I'm saying? It has to work or it has to work. Yeah, like no failure is not an option. Like right. What they say, if you want to take the hill, you or if you want to really take the island, you got to burn the boats. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No choices. Yeah. You feel me?
So, and that was two. I'll let you go through a couple. What's the top three? What top two?
Transferable skills for me. Skills. For me personally was not being you know what I would say, not fearing. Excuse me. Top three transferable skills from a 9 to 5 that I personally picked up was not being afraid to ask for help. You know what I'm saying? Not being afraid to ask for help, because a lot of times, you know, and I was listening to an interview and somebody said something real, and you know, we are in our culture, we are obsessed with self-made, right? The statement I'm self-made, right? Shout out to Rick Ross. But sometimes you gotta have other people, right? Like we talked about firing yourself and stuff like that. You gotta ask for help. You gotta hire the professionals. You gotta know the right people in the right rooms, in the right spaces, that they can kind of give you a hand up. Like I used to write poetry and raps and stuff when I was a kid. And one of the lines I had was like, follow those who know and teach the rest. Right? Like, so if you know something, you gotta, you know, you want to, it's certain feet print that have already been laid down. All you got to do is follow them.
Feet print or footprint?
Feet print.
I thought,
I'm talking about plural. This is plural.
All right, gotcha.
There are feet prints that have been left. He's correcting me on my grammar now. So no, but there are certain tracks that have already been laid down, and all you got to do is follow those tracks. You don't necessarily have to deviate from that path until it looks like that path that you're walking is going in the direction that you're not interested in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I already know, like if I wanted to learn how to do film production or something like that, the best thing I could do is ask somebody who knows how to shoot films. You know what I'm saying? Sit, watch, study, ask questions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I learned in a 9 to 5, I learned to do that. You know what I mean? Because that's how you make your successes, is by watching and knowing the right people, and not like you don't want to be like a brown nose or nothing like that, not being Joe or anything like that, but you still have to learn how to make relationships work in your favor. You know what I'm saying? And also offer to those relationships just as much as you demand of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Cool. That was one.
That was just one.
All
just
right.
making a relationship.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And the second one, I guess, would be just like testicular fortitude, man. If you want to be successful, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, and I was a mailman when I was.
This guy had 100 jobs, though.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Jamaican.
That's a fact, bro. I was a truck driver. I was a mailman. I did direct sales marketing, where you go to people's doors and stuff like that. Like you go to business and stuff, where you approach people and you got like products and stuff. You're like, yo, anybody want to buy a slinky? Oh, you don't want a slinky? Well, I got these books. Oh, you don't want the books? All right, well, look, I got this special deodorant that's made, you know what I'm saying? So I did that type of stuff. And that was kind of like the same thing. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like, look, you got to make your numbers. If you don't make your numbers or whatever, this is strictly based on you know, your ability to sell.
Did you
If
make
can't
your numbers?
sell,
Did you make your numbers?
barely. But I did some days I did good, but I always felt like that was a hustle. But that's like when people, you know, that was to me, unbeknownst to me, that was kind of like when people are doing, when they're doing these a lot of these things that they're doing now, that I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, some of the stuff that you find through, was it not like Amazon or whatever, but like I forgot what you call it. But I learned about it later. I was like, yo, that's pretty much what I was doing. Like, they basically put some stuff out there and then get a bunch of people to go out there and sell it. And if they can sell it, then they get a percentage of it. But whoever bought all that stuff in bulk, and basically we're out here selling it for them. And the only way we're going to take a small percentage, a slither of that, is if we're, you know, able to flip it. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid. I was like 19. I ain't know no better. Yeah. But I was just trying to make some money. You know what I mean?
I think a segment that we also want to have on our show, no PTO days, is, I think, because you find even with successful people, you unless you really go into the back story of people, is like looking at people public failures, you know, like, so what they say, like, you learn from people more in their losses than their wins, right?
That's a fact.
So like, and I guess that would be my third as far as transferable skills, is like, anytime I was dealing with like going to another department and it's the top sales rep, I would go and I ask them like, what do they do to be successful? But also try to ask them, you know, how did they take, you know, what's some of the L's that they took? You know what I mean? I guess we could revert back to us. Like, we could probably share a couple stories. What you think our biggest loss or our biggest public failure as business owners?
As business owners?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say it was a public. It was not maybe not a loss, but for me,
go ahead.
All right. I mean, I could speak to something that recently happened. Really, that like the first thing is going to come to mind is my challenge with everything that happened with COVID, right? And COVID shut down, like early COVID. You know, I'm a designer, right? I'm an artist, and early COVID, I dropped a shirt. Right, I dropped a sweatshirt called the Suna Says sweatshirt, right? And you know, it features like some really cool graphics and stuff, and people was feeling it. So, I mean, I put on samples of the shirt, and I walked down the street, and people was trying to buy the shirt off my back. You know what I mean? Like neighbors and stuff, like, yo, what size?
Right.
You know, so you know, and they, you know, and so I was like, okay, I got one. All right, I got one. I'm gonna put this out. I go to order the, you know, I'm like, all right, cool. I go to put my little stuff into the manufacturers that I use, you know what I'm saying? And it goes to like, it's waiting for it, it's pending and stuff. We're doing our research to see if we can try to make sure we get, unbeknownst to me, or not considering that it's Corona, it's COVID-19. Like, manufacturers is from China.
I tried to tell you too.
Yeah.
So and look, and people,
but I didn't think it was that deep. That was my fault.
But
I didn't think it was that deep.
Another thing is, a lot of times and that was your Sona Says brand.
Sona Says, yeah.
And some of the duties that we have with elitism group is kind of divvied up, where it's like, look, we might be texting 2-3 in the morning, and you come up with the fire artwork, and then I'm like, all right, boom, I'm going to upload it. I'm gonna make sure all the inventory. So that was and
that gave me more of a taste of the behind the scenes work, the leg work that you're doing, is what you're saying.
Exactly,
basically.
But
all right,
I'm saying sometimes I run into, like, not that I don't have another side clothing brand, but sometimes if I get stuck without the artwork, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Where we have different sources, and we don't want to, I guess, tell all our business. Y'all gotta pay. You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, pay for that. Facts.
Patreon is coming soon. but no, it's interesting. I think definitely COVID-19. I would say also, like, when we went to Art Basel, we was prepared, but we weren't. Like we just on a whim, we just took a flight down there. We was going to network. We had to hurry up and get business cards printed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't have enough.
24-hour Jones, and we didn't have enough. So it was some lost opportunities, but we still made it work. And
I think that's but like I said, like, I think it's like what I picked up from working, you know, like all of those different opportunities that I had was, you know, like, because if you work a 9 to 5, unless you're ready to get written up or fired, you can't just be like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a certain type of person. And there's people out there that's like that. You know what I'm saying? They're usually the people that, you know, that have a crazy relationship with their employer and miss out on a lot of opportunities. But you can't be the guy that's just like, man, I ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. Or I'm done. Or whatever, you know, this is the case or whatever. You know what I mean? Not to say you can't put your foot down, but a lot of times you gotta take your hits on the chin, like, all right, cool, I messed up right there. All right, you right. You know what? All right, I got you. Let me tell me how I can do it next time to where it's gonna get the job done properly. So transferable skills, that's one thing that I learned. You know what I mean? It was like when I was a mailman, right? When I was delivering mail, I had routes. I was a casual. I wasn't a full-time, you know, regular employee. I was a casual. So I was picking up other people's work. If they were out or if they were sick or whatever the case may be, I was picking up their routes that I hadn't worked before. Right. Or if one of them had to use or if I had to use the box truck or something like that, I had to run out to a place I'd never been before. So they might have been expecting it to be done the same way that the regular guy would do it. I'm like, I'm not the regular guy. So but what I learned there is, like, you know, all right, to not be so sensitive about stuff, you know what I mean? And that's I guess what I'm saying. It's like to not be so sensitive about everything just because things don't go your way in a situation. Just kind of chuck it up, you know, keep it pushing. What's up?
I want you guys to explain your roles in life now a little bit better. Like, what do you do now? What's your role with, like, what is elitism? Give me, like, because hopefully there'll be new viewers.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the lifestyle brand.
Yeah, like, tell me and explain what a lifestyle brand is.
Right.
Like, define a lifestyle brand. Say, and so there's 3 things I want you to do. I want you to tell me your roles, define a lifestyle brand, and say why this is what you guys are doing. Why this is your mission, what you're calling, or why you got into this business.
I feel like early on, well, okay, so as far as us being a lifestyle brand, right? Because we get this question all the time, is like, what is a lifestyle brand? Because initially, years ago, we was doing a lifestyle brand because we didn't want to be boxed in. We didn't want to just be, and we still that way. We don't want to be just doing a clothing brand because it's bigger than that, or it's a bigger message behind what we're doing. So. Right. A lot of people is like, hey, yo, you have a clothing brand? And we'll be quick, like, no, we're not. We have a lifestyle brand, right, and we have the clothing attached. And then outside of that, you know, you as a fine artist, we have art implemented. Outside of that, we have messages within elitism group.
And not to mention, like, the philanthropy, you know, right, what I'm saying, that we're involved in, the community work that we're involved in and stuff like that. If you look, right, and what I just... we talking about, right? I'm gonna show you, right? if you Google what a lifestyle brand is, because we took, how long did it take for us to actually come to the idea that, oh wait, we're a lifestyle brand, right? We discovered that in conversations, because we had a hard time defining ourselves and what we were, because we knew that the way we came together was, you have a certain set of skills and I have a certain set of skills, and we have certain interests that are similar.
Right.
So how do we merge these and affect the people, ourselves and the people around us, in the most positive way, utilizing these skills and these interests, right? That is the lifestyle, right? So if you Google what a lifestyle brand is, right? A lifestyle brand is a brand that attempts to embody the values, aspirations, interests, attitudes, and opinions of a group or a culture for marketing purposes, right? Lifestyle brands seek to inspire, guide, and motivate people with the goal of their products contributing to the definition of the consumer's way of life. Now, we're not necessarily always,
I said that's heavy.
You know, I'm saying, so if you look at what we do with Elitism Group and what we've always, you know, aspired to do with Elitism Group, it's exactly what we've redefined the word elitism to mean, right? Because elitism has a negative connotation.
Right.
However, if you look at it, you know, on a different level, if you look at it maybe from the peripheral, it can be manipulated to a much broader definition. You know what I'm saying? You take creative license of that, you know, to where you can redefine it, because it fits in those same molds where you're trying to inspire, you're trying to live a certain kind of way of life, and you're trying to inspire others to live a certain kind of way of life. And you're not necessarily forcing it upon people like the quote unquote elitist concept of.
Right.
However, you're inspiring and you're encouraging people. So our thing is that we want to encourage people that come from where we come from. We come from Philly. You know what I'm saying? We want to encourage people that come from all different walks of life. But the first people, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So we come from Philly. Philly needs people who are going to revamp and redirect, you know, the culture here, you know? So when I was in Texas, one thing, when I was in Texas, shout out to H-Town. I would see people in Philly, like, just through social media, you know what I'm saying? Just through the benefit of social media, I would see people in the spaces of art and creativity, you know what I'm saying? And what they were doing here in Philly was almost like a renaissance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And many of them were in a very small collective that I knew of, but it was so much broader that I didn't know. So I was looking at people like Karan J. Shout out to Karan. Kings rule together. Queens rule together, right? Shout out to him. I was looking at people like...
Salute to Gianni Lee.
Gianni Lee. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at people like DJ Damage, right? Yeah. And all these people. I was looking at, you know, people like Ibn Anderson and Barik Cobbs, the brothers who established Mesquite and things like that back when I was a kid. But I was looking at what they were doing with their creativity. You know what I'm saying? Eric, I forget his name, last name, forgive me, bro. But, you know, these guys were doing some phenomenal things in the art space and in the sense of moving culture and expressing themselves. And it seemed so natural. I'm not saying it was just effortless, because, you know, for real, if anything that you want to really work is not that effortless. You got to put some effort. But these guys were doing it in such a way that I was like, yo, there's really a wave going on in Philly that's really moving the culture forward. And it doesn't even seem like these guys are necessarily breaking the sweat to do it. You know what I mean? But they're just putting they just care. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I was able to pick up from that, you know what I mean? And I was able to and so anyway, when we talk about life, I'm sorry about it. I get long-winded. Y'all, I get long-winded. The point is, lifestyle brand, that's where the idea came from me. Right. It's like, we want to inspire and encourage people to live a specific way, their best version of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And to take that and then give back to others and encourage them to be the best version of themselves. That's pretty much what it was for me. Sorry for the... I get.
Don't need to apologize. But it was like I feel like even like going through like having a brand, you have a sense of responsibility. That's to be able to convey a message. So same way like an artist might have to, there's no secret, Jay-Z's my favorite rapper. You start out on a basic level, which we did. When we started our brand, we started out with just dad hats. That was a strategic ploy of like, okay, look, we have a limited amount of funds to get started. Everybody else is doing t-shirts. Like we going, again, getting hats manufactured, especially if you're going into detail, it's a 3 to 6 month process. We could have easily took $500, $700, put some money into some hoodies, shirts, get a quick profit, but we took a longer journey, but we wanted to establish right off the bat. When you have a brand or any type of clothing, and you get one shot at a first impression.
Yeah.
So we put up a nice amount of money for the two. We had 3 colorways, right? That we started out
the
with.
Original one, we had the green,
black.
we had the black, and we had white.
No, we had the 2 camo was orange and red. The camo orange.
Oh yeah, my fault. Yeah, we had the orange and red,
and the black and white. So, but that was worth it because we was like we specifically was like, let's do a dad hat. This is something that people could wear every day as opposed to a shirt.
Yeah,
the cycle as far as getting established and word of mouth, and that was a good job on our end of like, all right, we're gonna do something a little bit different. And that worked,
right?
You know what I mean? It's people to this day that's like, when you gonna drop the black?
And see, the ill thing about that, right, is because when you study like people that teach classes on how to start a brand or how to start a clothing line or how to start, if you wherever you watch it, right? I've seen 1,000,001 YouTubes and all that stuff on these issues.
Yep.
Everybody always says do a t-shirt because it's easy. You learn this and the third. You know what I'm saying? And we were like, I got you, but nah. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're going to do.
Right.
We're going to take that same approach as far as we're going to pick a singular product and we're going to put a lot of effort into making it and we're going to figure out. But in order for us to stand out a little bit, we're going to tweak it. We're going to take the same beaten path and all these steps that you're talking about, but we're going to do it with a different product. And it's going to cost us a little bit more money, but at the same time or whatever, it's going to be more iconic for us. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, to this day, it's something that's still in high demand, and we were able to. And
a bigger profit margin.
Yeah, the profit margin was good.
And that's another, like, as far as putting our money in, investing and stuff like that.
Getting it back, yeah.
I will say, and not to go back to what we was talking about, the transferable skills, but I will say, like, dealing with when I was in sales at corporate, as far as like, all right, I have return on investment. Yeah, that was drilled into my head. Yeah. You know what I mean? With our managers and stuff like that. Anytime we wanted to move forward on different projects, like what's the ROI? What's the ROI? Yes. That's like I will say that's probably one of the biggest. Sorry for banging the table,
slamming on the table.
But the ROI, that's a big thing. And that was like, all right, the hats. All right, we gonna get a better profit margin. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but making our money work itself out. You know what I mean? So that was
that was a good choice. Like I feel like And from us doing that, I feel like, and should I talk about like the celebrity,
yeah, we can. I mean, we that parlayed that some other opportunities.
Yeah, like I feel like us, if we would have just done a t-shirt, the like Malcolm, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Malcolm.
You talking about Malcolm X?
Malcolm Jenkins.
All right,
all right. So I feel like Malcolm Jenkins. We saw him in multiple clips and in multiple scenarios wearing our product, right? Our hat. Shout out to Malcolm Jenkins. Shows a lot of love to the city. You know what I'm saying? We miss you, bro. I feel like if we would have just done a t-shirt, how many times can he wear that t-shirt?
Not only that, but I don't think that the opportunity that wouldn't have transpired how it did. It wouldn't have. He's a he wears dad hats all the time.
All the time. Yeah, he bald. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't think that so again, I think that this that early on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how many times he gonna wear if we would have gave, like, when you walk up to a celebrity or you walk up to an influencer or whatever the case, whoever, they can rock the t-shirts and the t-shirts, like, you know, I love t-shirts because like you can fit so many dope graphics and things like that. That's one of my favorite things is a dope tee. But a hat, if you do a hat, that person can wear that hat multiple times. That person can wear that hat I wear a hat every day. You know what I'm saying? I wear a hat all the time. I got a blue peanut head. So I wear a hat all the time. Right? So if you take somebody like myself, I'm gonna be interested in your hats more than I'm gonna be interested in your shirts. Not only that,
salute to all our queens too, because, and I didn't think about this when we first got started, but Dad has a lot of women like that's like on laundry day or just want to run out to the store,
or they just ain't get their hair done, or they had an interesting night.
We heard so many times like, oh, your hat is my go-to if I just want to throw on a quick dad hat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, you know, man. Let me tell you what Tyrone, I had to put the hat on. You know what I'm saying? Last night was crazy. So yeah, facts. Like, you know, and yeah, shout out to all the ladies that have been wearing our hats. Shout out to everybody that supported us and bought that hat.
Shout out to the fellas
and
too.
Shout out to the fellas. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
y'all gotta spend a little more, but
dudes don't be spending on money, man. We gotta we gotta do a show about that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes not spending any money.
Well, like they say, like, right, in nightlife, anything, like you cater to the women, and then the guys are going to come along. Like we Drake and music, you know what I mean? He makes sure he caters to the women. You know what I mean? That's his consumer, and then he does just enough for the guys too. So I think that's across the different industries for sure.
Yeah.
I want to ask, tell everyone what they should expect from No PTO. Like, you know, what do you guys want to bring to the culture with this show? What is the message you guys want to bring?
So, like, when we started the ELITISM group, another thing is that we talked about is, you know, our first message on our first dad hat. What did we have on the back? What was the quote? Not better, just different. So, like, No PTO days, like, I feel like there's a lot of parallels with, you know, even with us being different as far as like you're an artist and then I had a sales background. The different guests that we're going to have on is going to have unique stories that can correlate with like the trade and time for money. Whether you're an artist, that you're a painter, and you trying to figure out time how to be creative,
right? You're
trying to balance your time with your family to get stuff done. Right. You're not trying to compromise your time for being creative,
right?
Because, you know, sometimes that comes in effect too. Like, you want to what we watched, one guy said we had a whole conversation about what you want to do, what you like doing should be your hobby, and what other people like from you should be your business. Facts. And that's a little bit more complicated when it comes to you doing art, but it's to the same degree. Like, when we come out with a design, some of the things that we might personally like,
which I had to learn.
Right. It's some of the stuff that we personally like might not be the top seller. So So I think some of the guests that we're gonna have a few entrepreneurs, a couple people that start out locally, maybe a couple artists from the art background. There's a lot of parallels with art and real estate to me. When I look at both worlds and how art is appraised and people are investing into art, there's a lot of parallels. Anybody that has a story that can relate to No PTO days, that's going to be different, I think, for the culture. What you think?
Yeah, I agree. Everything that he said, I agree with that sentiment. You know what I'm saying? My expectations for No PTO days is similar to what he said. Like I said, when he came up with the notion of No PTO days, I mean, when I think about like titles and stuff, like I'm usually super creative about how I say it and what but I feel like the title No PTO Days, while it wasn't like mystical or you know what I'm saying, or overly deep, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that, or didn't have historic reference necessarily, it has relatable issues. And for somebody like myself that is a creative and a business owner, the business owner part is the side that I'm refining every day. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting closer to, and I'm striving to master, you know what I'm saying, is the ability for me to do exactly that. And I think, which is give myself to myself. You know what I mean? To where I'm not giving myself to the establishment, so to speak, right? I don't want to like say it like that, but you know, I think that my children deserve it, and I think that my community deserves it, and I think I deserve to have more of an opportunity to you know, focus on my crafts and focus on my business. So I feel like what we're going to contribute is giving people, just like what we do with our brand or what we aspire to do with our brand, which is to introduce a different way of thinking to people who look at us, who watch us, people who look like us, who talk like us, who come from where we come from. You know,
yeah. I think also like with no PTO day, like who would have thought, like I Got Dreams too. That's our top seller. That's such a that was just a, we just talked, that wasn't our normal lingo, on everyday lingo. It's so simple, but it resonates with so many different people in a different way. I feel that same way with No PTO Days. Like,
yeah,
somebody see No PTO Days podcast on a t-shirt. I feel like people will go, let me see what that's about. Like, wait a minute, I just talk about I'm not having PTO days.
Yeah,
or,
no more PTO.
You know, I'm thinking about leaving my job, or I'm thinking about using my job to invest. You know, using some of my PTO days to invest into whatever I have got.
For
going
those
on.
of you who don't have jobs, PTO is paid time off. All you dope boys who never had a 9 to 5, the PTO is paid time off.
Now it's gonna be super dope. This is episode number 1, number uno. I don't know who our guest is, our first guest will be, but we wanted to make sure we conveyed the message of you know,
introduce ourselves.
Yeah, what the podcast is all about.
Yeah.
We didn't want to just keep it generic and elitism group podcast. We creative guys, so we want to have a meaning behind it, and you know, pick up some more another audience on the way. So
yeah, inshallah. You know,
salute the Mansa Media.
Shout out to Mansa Media, man. It's a major thing or whatever. Proud of all.
Sure, I get my clip.
Proud of everybody over at Mansa Media and all of the
trying to get your sexy voice. What's going on, man? I don't know what's going on.
I just you heard me?
The lights got dark in here. I don't know what's going on.
Shout out to you know, I feel comfortable now. No, but shout out to everybody. Switched it up. I gotta make sure you get that clip in.
Salute to the team, Ryan.
Shout out
Kyle,
to everybody in Mansa.
Paulo, you know, we all make it work. You know, we salute to everybody. Elitism group. I know I shouted out the brand reps earlier. I wanted to make sure I did that again because I forgot a name. So salute to Joy, Ma, Marissa, John, Alexis, Alex. Yeah, salute to all of our brand ambassadors, man, because they definitely. We have an audience outside of Philly now. You know what I mean? We
owe y'all for that, man. Dope. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, so salute to y'all.
And everybody, look, it's certain people that they're not brand reps, but you couldn't tell.
You never know what a repost and a mention or anything like that.
Shout out to Slim.
Yeah, like it's not even just. And I talked to other people, other owners about that. Like some people might feel some type way, like my family they not supporting me. Like everybody has support in a different way, right?
That's facts.
You know, you got some people that have the extra money to support you.
Yeah.
Some people, I feel like if they haven't support yet, you got to keep consistently putting out fire to make them
so
it's undeniable.
I was just getting ready to go there because it's like, you know. Like me, I'm a fan of certain artists, and you don't have to sell me on anything for them. You know what I'm saying? Because when they drop, if Takashi Murakami drops something, I love it. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I love what he does.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I see anything Basquiat, you know what I'm saying? So even the commercialized stuff that they got going, I still love it because I know that's still part of the legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I see it at Urban Outfitter or if I see it at Uniqlo or something like that,
right,
I'm still like, all right, it's Basquiat. you know what I'm saying, on it. Or if I see it on a little local spot and they got it and they just printed up a shirt with the inspiration, I love it.
Right.
You
But
know,
again, to take it back, like if you're dealing with somebody local and, you know, you have a family member and it's like, they start hearing from other people like, yo, that shit, you know, this elitism group
undeniable.
Is undeniable. Yeah, so you just gotta keep working hard. Like that, like not have emotion when it comes to why people not supporting. Everybody support in a different way. I got best friends that support by purchasing. I got some by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just as valuable. Actually, it's probably even better in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But my friends is buying, keep buying, keep buying,
keep buying. You know what I mean? Because it's dope if somebody sees something like, if somebody sees somebody wearing our I Got Dreams hoodie, and they see the front, right, and it says, "Oh, I got dreams too," they might like it. And then when you turn around and you see the back where it says what, you know what I'm saying, where it has the quote or whatever
from Albert Einstein.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What did it say?
A dream is a preview to life's
coming attractions. Yeah. So a dream is just a preview to life's coming attractions. Like when people see that with the flag, with our 3-stripe flag over the top, they like, oh yeah, I want one. You know what I'm saying? So creating something that resonates with people and creating something to where it moves or touches people. That's why, like, as a lifestyle brand, you know, the whole goal is for you to inspire people and encourage people. So with those type of statements that tell verbally, they actually tell you what we want.
Right.
And actually tell you what we care about. You know what I mean? It's undeniable.
Right.
You guys got 4 minutes to reach an hour.
Okay. All right. So I guess this has been the first installment of No PTO Days.
Episode number
1. Kind of, I guess, a pilot, you know what I mean, show, and launch pad.
Yeah, it'll be out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the major platforms. So definitely go search us. You could listen to it in your car. You could watch us on YouTube. Either way, hopefully we don't get canceled after this first episode. We might be going right back to being a lifestyle brand. We don't know. So
yeah, but we appreciate everybody that stayed and watched to the end and things like that. Man, make sure y'all go shop and check out elitismgroup.com. Make sure that y'all check out vickerway.com. to make sure that you check out
and check out Mansa Media LLC. Check them out. Facebook. Instagram will definitely produce your podcast. You see, it's pretty dope. This is just the first episode, so it's going to grow.
That's facts.
Y'all gonna see by episode number 2 for sure.
Right. Follow on Instagram at Elitism Group, ELITISM GROUP.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Salute.